Hey guys, welcome back. We are beginning. Begin again. Chapter 25, the global crisis. It backs up a little bit. It talks about what's going on all around the world in the 1920s and how the devastation that the depression all over um, brought to different countries. It also makes the point of the fact that Germany was in the worst shape of anybody. And while we latched on to a charismatic leader that gave us hope and was a good guy, Germany latched on to a charismatic leader who gave them hope and was a bad guy. So, um, I'm only going to do maybe 5 or 6 minutes today because I know that you're really um, not on board yet. And I don't know how to make myself any smaller. Okay. There, it's as small as I can get. Anyway, the global crisis. Let's see. I know it's all experimentation. There we go. Um, Let me stop right here and remind you that if you want Adam Norris's um, outline that goes with this. Obviously, it is on apushReview.com. Go to the Brinkley book, scroll down to 25, and it's just the fill in the blank thing. I don't think that does a whole lot of good because you're not really writing enough. You're just kind of skimming and listening for answers. Anyway, way back in 1921, um, the First World War has just ended. Several nations get together and we all agree to reduce our militaries. There's a five power pact: us, Britain, Japan, France, and Italy. And everybody has a different level that they're allowed to reach. 5 tons of ships for the US, 3 for Japan, 1.75 for France and Italy. Why? Because when you're bigger, you get to be the boss. It really is that simple. Later comes the non-power pact. This reinforced John Hayes' open door policy with China. Everybody wants a piece of China. China really doesn't want anything to do with anyone else, but we have forced it upon them. And here is my favorite pact of all, the Kellogg-Briand Pact. It makes war illegal. This is like telling people that crime is illegal. It's a giant duh, and it really doesn't do any good. If I am a good guy, I'm going to sign this pact and it's not going to be a big deal. If I am a bad guy, I am going to sign this pact and I'm going to be going yeah, in the background. So, what's the point? So that later we can call somebody a liar? Big whoop. There's no way to enforce it. There's really no way to oversee it. Um, by 1933, Hitler is violating the Versailles Treaty all over the place. People pretty much know it, but they really can't prove it, or the parts they can prove, they can't enforce, they can't do anything about. Then we've talked about the Dawes Plan before. This is that loop where Germany pays Britain and France because they owe them money, reparations for all of the damage, loss, everything during the war. Britain and France had borrowed from us, so they used the money Germany gave them to pay us back. We take that money and we give it back to Germany. Um, and then comes October 1929. This is, I don't know, it's like we're all running arms linked and one of us trips. We're all going down. And it's bad. I know that you've probably been watching your parents in the last couple of weeks who've been watching the market, and you've seen them pacing or the blood running from their face. The market in 1929 lost about 70 to 80% of its value. We're nowhere near that yet. And as my broker keeps reminding me, even after the crash, those companies eventually recovered. And so those who had the wherewithal to wait it out did okay. This is Hoover. This is his dog, King Tut. Hoover's a good guy. I've said that before. We turned to him because we believed in him. Um, he fed us during the war. He fed Belgium after the war. He is a self-made man. Literally worked in a coal mine as a kid, is a millionaire as a grown-up. He is super popular when we elect him. Um, Whether or not he enforced the Roosevelt Corollary, we really don't care. Lebensraum is going on during his watch. Lebensraum is living room or living space. It is what the German government says they need for their people. And this is the excuse they use to gobble up country after country after country. They start small and then they go really big. Meanwhile, Japan is invading Manchuria. Do you remember the Russo-Japanese War that TR negotiated? Well, they're back at it again. Um, we refused to recognize their gains. And that, remember when we recognized Panama within like 30 seconds? Um, Japan is taking over parts of Manchuria of China, and we're saying, no, no, it never happened. You're not in control because what you're doing is wrong. Well, it's wrong because we don't like it. It was right because we were cool with it in Panama. Um, there's a saying, the winners write the history books. So there is a world conference held in London in 33. We don't go. This makes it meaningless. If the United States, the strongest economy on the planet, is not going to go and is not going to participate, what's the point? Um, we do come up with reciprocal trade agreements. In other words, we talk to other countries and we're like, hey, if you'll lower the tariffs on us, we'll lower the tariffs on you. That benefits everybody, but really the governments. We finally recognize the Soviet Union because we need to. Nobody likes the Soviets. Now, this is not me being anti Russian people. This is me telling you that the nations of the world are terrified of a Bolshevik type revolution where the established government can be overthrown and replaced. That is why they don't like the Soviets. The Tsar and his family had been in power for 300 years. Nobody wants to recognize the people that overthrew them. That is why it takes almost 15 years to do so. But trouble is brewing in Europe, and we just might need them. The good neighbor policy, this is us and Latin America. Well, do we want happy neighbors to the north and south of us? Yes, we do. We have giant oceans on either side. If we can keep our northern and southern borders happy, we are a very safe place to live. Now, this is before, today's weapons and today's supersonic jets and whatever. I am going to stop right there because we're almost at 10 minutes. We are barely into the chapter. We are trying to be isolationist. We are trying to make friends with everybody around us. And we are trying to prepare for whatever the worst may be. So we're at a little less than 10 minutes. Give it a listen. Look through your book into this part. Look at the vocab at the end. and I'll see you in part two.